pray over this situation. Okay, I know I've said words, talked words, and forgive me for indulging inside of sin. So, guys, hope all is well. We're doing great. We're gonna wait a couple more minutes until a couple more people comes in, and yeah, when you guys come in, make sure you guys like it, so on and so forth. So, guys, hope all is well. We're doing great. I am deeply looking forward for this call. Okay, for anyone who wants to quit pornography, so on and so forth. Dude, you guys are gonna get so many things out of it. We're gonna put a timestamp as well, okay, over where we're gonna start at, so on and so forth. And yeah, man, listen, I look forward to seeing where you guys can go to, man. Okay, but until then, we're gonna dive deep into the video right now. So, fellas, okay, 5 things that you need to know when 5 things that you must stay away from. Okay, the mistakes. Stay away from these mistakes while you are upon your journey of semen retention. We're gonna go through them very quickly, and then we're gonna go to a couple stories that I've had. But fellas, allow us to motivate you, and you put in the work, you grind, you fight, and ultimately you will win, right? So that's what we all want to do, is win, right? So at the end of the day, fellas, the first thing that you're going to notice is this. The number one mistake that you cannot make is straying away from God. So if a man strays away from God, that's something that you don't want to do. You want to stay away from. So let's say that you have other people. Okay, let's say that you have something going on inside of your life, and you don't have God with you. Then it's hard to get outside of that situation. Okay, because a lot of people, because the truth is, with toxic masculinity and real philosophy, what they do is they teach things where you do things without God, you do things without the Lord, you do things trying to be your own God. And if you know anything about the Bible verse, the Bible says that people will try to be godly, but deny the power thereof. So again, if you want to go to the next level, okay, keeping God first is highly key. Don't stray away from Him. He's the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, and no one comes to the Father except through Him, right? So you have to understand that these things are highly important, fellas. You cannot go to New Age. You cannot go to astral projection, third eye chakra opening, so on and so forth. These things it's really nothing. It causes a demonic attack, causes things where you shouldn't be in, so on and so forth. So, number one, straying away from God. Okay. Number two is making sure that you have your purpose straight and forward. If you have no purpose, it's a little bit tough for you. Okay. You want to have a purpose, going upon your journey, moving on, moving forward. Okay. Because if you don't have a purpose, then what's going to happen is the idle mind is the devil's workshop. So whatever it is that you do behind closed doors, who you are, how you conduct yourself, how you act, these things are highly important, fellas. Okay, you gotta make sure that you have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, fellas, it's a little bit tough. But I'll tell you this one thing, okay? When you fully work and you grind and you fight and you win, there's going to be so many things going upon your way. And I'll tell you this one thing. There's going to come a time where breakthrough can happen, and you can receive your breakthrough. Nobody's stopping you. No one's stopping you from getting there. Okay, but at the end of the day, making sure that you have your purpose. Okay. The next thing is this: you got to cherish your energy. So, fellas, as you are upon your journey, fellas, inside of the world, so on and so forth, you got to protect it, man. You got to protect your energy. If you don't protect your energy, it's a little bit tough in the world today. But you got to protect your energy, man. Stay away from people who are not where you want to be at. Stay away from people who say, this is another thing is this. You got to quit getting advice from people where you don't want to be at. If you don't want to be there inside of your life, if you don't want to be there, okay, if you want to stay away from being at a certain level, stay away from taking advice from people of where you don't want to be at. You don't want to bow down to nobody but God, and you don't want to give your strength on the people of where you don't want to be at. Okay. Again, that's highly important, fellas. I promise you. Okay. All right, fellas. Okay, let's gonna go with the fourth point. The fourth point is this. So as you upon your journey, okay, you have to understand this is a lifestyle instead of a challenge. Okay, it's going to be a lifestyle instead of a challenge, right? And I'm just thinking about the next point because the next point's going to be so amazing. But dude, the fourth point, you got to make sure that you make this a lifestyle instead of a challenge, okay? Because this is a lifestyle. It's not a challenge. This is a lifestyle. You want to make sure that when you're about your journey, you're going upon your journey, know that it's not just going to be a 60-day or a 90-day thing, but it's going to be thousands of days where you're going to have to protect your energy, where you're going to have to surrender to the Lord, right? Where you're going to have to fight back. It's going to take hundreds of days, every single day. You're going to have to do it, okay? The work that we put inside of our program, it's things you got to do daily. So at the end of the day, fellas, 60 days, 90 days, 100 days, you got to place in your mind that it's a training day in and day out, day in, day out. There's no hiding away from training. If you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. Another quote from Les Brown, okay? If you do things that are easy, life will be hard. But if you do things that are hard, life will be easy. It's a simple concept of this. When you go back to point one for keeping God first, and then you go back to point 4 of training, you combine the two together, you'll succeed on semen retention. The reason why people are not over 20 days is because they're not training their kingdom. You got to start training your spirit and your mind, okay? Not just for 30 days, not just for 90 days, or not just even for 200 days. You got to do it for years. So that means that people think that when you hit 90 days, that you're good, but you still got a long way to go. There's still a long way to go. Okay. And when I say this, man, I say this for the people who want to make this a lifestyle. If you do know in November and you do that. But for the people who want to make it a lifestyle, you got to train. You got to train for years. Okay. That means next year, no new me, who this, no none of that stuff. No, I'm stopping training. You train from today to the day you get married. And when you get married, what's going to happen is you are still in training with your eyes. Okay, it's going to be a lot easier because you do have a wife. But when it comes to quitting pornography, this is not just a 30-day thing. This is a 40-year thing. This is a 60-year thing. This is a thing where you do it until God calls you, right? So we don't do it for 30 days. We don't quit pornography for 40 days. We quit it for years. And your goal is to do it for until God, until you leave the earth, right? So you want to do it for years, 20 years, 30 years, quitting pornography for good. And guess what? When you're married, you have a chance to become one flesh with your wife. And so it's a lot easier, right? Because semen retention is this: is when you are in your single years. Okay, when you're in your single years, that's when you can do it. That's when you can, do semen retention, focus on your business, create whatever it is that you're creating. But quitting pornography, it's that. Okay. But all you have to do is just sacrifice this time, and understand that if you want to quit pornography for good, again, it's not just 90 days, but it's a lifestyle. Okay. The next thing is this: being careful with your tongue. Okay, and being careful with what you hear. Last thing, then we're going to go to stories and we're going to dip out. Fellas, listen, you got to make this into a lifestyle. Be careful with secular music. Secular music discusses, songs of unclean affirmations, talk about lust and adultery, and calling women out of their name, talking about sex, hookup culture, all these things, and promoting it like it's cool. You want to stay away from the things that you hear because, again, ultimately, what you put inside of your mind ultimately becomes you. The way you act, the way you carry yourself. That's the reason why some people, when they listen to rap songs, they can fully memorize a song in less than 2 days. And that's scary. And the thing about it is that the power of the tongue brings life and death. So what you speak out in the world will become you. Okay? The things that you say is going to become you. So you want to be careful with that. You don't want to indulge inside of those lustful things and secular music, adultery, all of these different things. So you want to be careful with that. The next thing is movies. Okay, you got to stay away from movies, fellas. Stay away from the secular movies of, again, a woman walks by inside the scene, and then the guy's looking at her in a, negative way or lustful way. You got to stay away from that. Okay. The next thing is being careful with your tongue. Again, the power of the tongue brings life and death. So, fellas, as you are upon your journey, you want to make sure that you don't speak in a lustful way regarding women or anything about your nofap journey. You got to stay away from it. Okay. And fellas, that's key. You got to keep God first. You got to find your purpose, and you actually have to do it. Okay. You got to make this a lifestyle instead of a challenge. You got to make sure that the power of tongue brings life and death. Make sure that you're doing that. Okay. And just making sure, fellas, that you understand that this is a training that you're doing instead of just a 30-day thing. Fellas, I'm going to tell you guys some stories. Okay. And then we're going to dip off. Some stories regarding semen retention, kind of what happened, the things that happened, and things that I pretty much attracted, okay, that you can too. And I want you guys to do that as well. But some of the stories, man, listen, okay, being able to get mentors. See, one thing that you're going to experience is this. When you're upon your journey, when you go upon your journey, you go to the next level, fellas, you may start attracting things that are very, very powerful. Mentorship, job opportunity, business opportunity, whatever it is that God wants you to be at. Ultimately, when you do things that of the 1%, okay, God will start giving you things of the 1%. So mentorship is one of the biggest things that I've experienced. Some people want to know, have I gotten a female attraction? I don't know. I haven't even looked at it. You know what I mean? I haven't even looked at it. You know what I mean? So I'm not really, I haven't even looked at it. Because I see some people, they post semen retention attractions and stuff like that, and oh, the girl was doing this, that, and the third. The truth is, I've never experienced any of that stuff. I haven't, merely because I've just been so focused on what I need to focus on. And that's what I want you guys to do too. Just stay so focused that when it comes time to go on a dating scene, you go out and find a wife instead of focusing on female attraction. Okay. And yeah, I mean, that's key. And I'll leave you guys at this one last story. But the truth is this. I remember my first year of semen retention. I was driving down, I was driving, and what happened was there's a country club. So in the city that I used to live in, there was a country club right next to it. So if you guys know who Michael Vick is, big time baller, so on and so forth. Okay, Michael Vick used to live in these country clubs. So as I was passing these country clubs, kind of what happened was this. God was telling me, dude, go in. Okay, go into the country club. Now keep in mind there's gates. There's gates inside the country club, so you can't go in unless um, unless the attendant, you have to show them the ID, and you also have to um, tell them which address they're going to, and then they have to call the place to let them know that, hey, Brandon or EJ is going to go to that place. I didn't know anyone in the country. I did know a couple people, but I didn't know where they lived at or anything. So I said, just go in and tell them that you're a personal trainer. That's what God told me. I went in, and keep in mind, I remember there was like an older white lady in front of me, and when she was in front of me, she had to give the attendant the ID and tell the attendant where she was going to. So I was like, oh, dude, bad mistake. And all of a sudden, boom, I walk up, or I go up, and says, hey, where are you going to? I told him, I said, I'm a personal trainer. And guess what happened? He just let me in without having to see my ID, without having to see, pretty much anything. He just let me in. And I can tell you this one thing is that this is what semen retention does. You can attract things, so on and so forth, and things can actually elevate for your life. So fellas, that is the end of the video, man. This is a series. Hope you guys enjoyed the last video I posted as well on the YouTube channel. We're going to think about switching things up for the YouTube channel, public interviews. It's because I know, listen, sometimes it's like, dude, it's all these semen retention videos. It's like there has to be a switch up in terms of you need to learn more as well. So instead of just learning from me, why not learn from other people? That's what we want. Michael, what's going on, brother? Hope all is well. Okay. So we're going to try to do public interviews. Also, more collabs. I know you want to see some people who are 3 years in, 4 years in. So they're going to be on the channel soon. And I look forward to that. And the next thing we're going to try to do is get also females. So that way you could see from a biblical side of things instead of a hookup side. There needs to be in the biblical standpoint, there needs to be a man and a woman connecting to each other, talking about the word and how we should view women, how women should view a man. So I'll do my best to have more females coming upon the channel so you can see in a biblical manner what it's supposed to be like, so on and so forth. Because the truth is, you go on YouTube and it's like a man and a woman together. It's either hookup culture, talking about date. What's a kiss or slap? The next thing is just rate 1 to 10, so on and so forth. So it's like, dude, you need to you gotta find a balance, and it's time for the biblical masculinity. It's time for the Christians to stand up, and more Christian content creators need to have this a healthy dialogue between a man and a woman besides debating. Like, it's always a debate. Even if it's serious, it's always a debate. We got to come back together, break bread, and actually do that. So there's going to be a lot of switch ups on the channel. Listen, guys, I'll be honest with you, man. Okay. It's been one great journey. Posting YouTube videos, so on and so forth, and keep your prayers up, man. Okay, you got it. But fellas, if you ever need any help, man, I'm always here. And yeah, okay. But you guys take care. Michael, God bless you, brother. And is there any questions you guys may have? We'll take one good question that we dip off. Please let me know. Perfect. Awesome, brother. Well, listen, you guys take care, man. I'll catch y'all later. This video will be posted, okay? And listen, we got to change things up. Okay, I see your question. What happens when you can't stop watching porn to your soul? What happens? So again, well, it's not really again, but if you can't, quit, if you can't quit, that means you're addicted, right? That means you do need to seek out help if needed. Um, that's that's the one thing I would tell you is, dude, seek out help if needed. Um, to your soul, what happens? So, what happens is your spirit needs a cleansing, man. For a long time, your spirit's been indulging instead of lust and adultery, and it needs a break, pretty much. You gotta have a break. Okay, you gotta have your soul. Your soul needs to rest as well. All right. So yeah, seek out help and seek out the cleansing of your spirit, so that way you can outwin sexual sin. Because Michael, I know you're a man of God, man. Okay, it's time to come back to the Lord fully and actually dive deep and move forward, man. But you got it. You got it. You got it. You got it. Okay, fellas, I will catch y'all later. Okay, you guys take care.